Well, hello there again. Welcome back to Wednesdays with Dixie. Thank you so much for grabbing the time to come and listen to the podcast. Welcome back to all of those listeners, old and new. I'm very blessed to have you here in the podcast. And on today's episode, Wednesdays with Dixie, we're gonna talk about how do you even define procrastination? And I think a lot of us has this characteristic. Maybe it's not even a character, but we tend to do a lot of procrastination in our lives. And I think it's important to actually understand why we procrastinate. What is the main reason we procrastinate in order for us to work on that? Because it's not a character, it's just something that we're gonna find out in this episode actually. So in today's episode I've got 3 segments, which is understanding procrastination, in my opinion, what you would want to do in order to shift these moods, and my third one is a takeaway. So procrastination, why do we procrastinate anyway? And I went through a bunch of research, through psychology, through a lot of study, where we procrastinate for a lot of reasons. I've got fear of failure, lack of motivation, avoidance, fear. I've got a bunch of things. We've got task aversion. In my opinion, task aversion is something that you're just really uncomfortable to do it. Just really uncomfortable to finish the task. The task. Why am I saying task? And I've got rumination. And a lot of the characteristics that all of these have, the sole reason is because we tend to avoid that uncomfortable feeling that comes with doing a certain task. Like, for example, doing our assignments, we procrastinate on it because we don't want to pressure ourselves. In my understanding, that's what I know of. Procrastination is not, there's a huge difference with procrastination and laziness, because procrastination is just controlling your emotion, controlling your feelings. It's you because you think that a simple task comes with so much anxiety that you don't want to do that right now. We don't want to tend to a task immediately because we fear failure. And when we do a certain task, for example, procrastinate a New Year's resolution, like say we're going on a diet this New Year, or we're going on the gym, we're going to be physically active, and the New Year came by and you just don't want to do it because you might feel very exhausted after the workout, or very exhausted when you come back home from that physical activity. There are just 3 things that this New Year resolution comes through. It's either you're gonna fail, you're gonna succeed, or you're gonna quit. And our brain thinks of the two, the failure and quitting, because a lot of us let that negativity win. Honestly speaking, the first few months of being physically active is really uncomfortable. But when you get to push yourself to do it, when you get to consistently do it, consistently push yourself regardless of the mood that you're in at the moment, that uncomfortable feeling tends to go away, the self-doubt tends to go away, and you'd be like, oh, I made it from the first week, or even I made it from the first 3 days, I can make it to the next 3 days. That's really good. A lot of us tend to quit and automatically stamp that physically active New Year's resolution as failure in the first 3 days of the new year, because it's not gonna happen, because we think it's not gonna happen, which is not true at all. Just consistently push yourself to do it regardless of your mood. Consistently push to do things regardless of what other people think. Consistently push yourself to do it regardless of self-doubt. We actually procrastinate because we don't believe in ourselves enough. as I was saying, self-doubt. We don't believe in ourselves enough that we can do a certain, like, even the smallest task, like organizing your pantry, organizing your vanity, organizing your clothes, because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't even realize that we don't believe in ourselves. We can do it, but we just don't want to do it. We don't even realize that we're doing that to ourselves, like we're letting that negativity. Don't do it because you're too tired. Don't do it because you've got other important things to do, or don't do it because it's you. Like, come on, let's be real, you're gonna procrastinate. Some sort of like that. We let all of those negativity consumes our brain, and then our brain acts on it and sends those responses to our nerves, and our nerves say, "Yup, you're going to bed today. You're not going to do any of that organizing that you want to do." That's what we call the negative cognitive biases, where low self-esteem is gonna win, because your brain automatically thinks you're like a piece of, you know what I mean. And I don't even mean to say that. I'm really sorry for that word. Truth be told, from experience, I was once a chronic procrastinator, where I really, if I see something so messy, I just don't want to do it, because it comes with a lot of other tasks. Like, if you clean it, you're gonna have to clean it the rest of the month. You know what I mean? Like, let it be dirty, just let it be dirty. But then I realized that a clean environment is actually really good, because it helps you more organized. It helps you think clearly. But it has that aura, it has that energy that feels like, yeah, you're gonna be, when you're organized, when you're clean, when your surrounding is clean, it just makes you think, right? But again, I'm gonna go back to what we call the circadian rhythm, where a lot of us don't have that ability to wake up at 6 a.m. to make their day productive. Productivity is very personal. You can be productive from the time between 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. You could be that person, because a lot of people tend to do much more between those hours than actually waking up early in the morning, like 6 a.m., or to like accomplish a lot of goals from early in the morning until they sleep at 10 p.m. But also, a lot of people who sleeps and wakes up at about like 10 a.m. and push through their day at 10 a.m., they might not do a lot of work between 10 a.m. till 10 p.m., but by 10 p.m. till 2 a.m., they're the most productive, because they feel like nobody is watching them. They feel like the noise shuts off completely. They feel like they're doing certain tasks for themselves. A lot of us should sit comfortable with the idea that procrastination is not laziness, it's not even character, it's an emotion that you need to understand, that you need to tend to, that you need to put yourself into before we even begin to do a task. Like, for example, as I said, I'm gonna use that example. As I said, being physically active in the new year as a New Year's resolution, because it's New Year. Happy New Year, by the way. A lot of us wait when we feel like it's the right time, but it's actually because we are filled with so much self-doubt about what it would mean for us to be able to start that New Year's resolution. Correct. In my opinion, what I think that would work so much to try to rewire your brain, or try to rewire those negative cognitive biases. What if, I've heard this from Gemma Berg, I've heard this from her, which she said, why don't you personify your doubts? Why don't you personify your doubts as people you hate the most, like your bullies in high school, your bullies in elementary, trolls, just like certain people you hate the most. Why don't you personify them and ask yourself, why would I listen to them? Why would I make myself feel bad? Why would I doubt myself? Why would I lower myself? Why would I put my self-esteem at risk. Put that fear in charge of yourself. For example, let's make 24 years as 24 hours. Put that fear in charge of yourself 24/7. And how would you feel if those bullies, if those trolls, if those people you hate so much control you for the rest of the day, or control you for the next 24 years, or even control you for the next 7 years? Do you see a future in that? Because the answer to that would be hideous, that would be outrageous, that would be just an awful, awful future that I don't want to live in. That's just the understanding, which kept me thinking. I'm like, right, correct. If I put these people in charge to control me, to control myself, to put myself in doubt, to question my worth, to lower my self-esteem, to lower my standards, to put myself in so much anxiety, why would I even want that? If I can do it, if I can be confident, if I can put so much work in myself, then why not? Correct? How you speak about your goals to yourself matters. You just don't realize it yet, because a lot of us would be like, okay, I don't want to speak about my goals and look stupid talking to myself, because it wouldn't work. At first, it really didn't work. It really didn't make sense until it made sense. Push yourself, motivate yourself to do as much as you can every day. Picture this. What would my future look like if I chose to push through? And I'm pretty sure my answer would be like, I really would want to see myself winning. I really would want to see myself succeed. I really wanted to see that person. I want to see the person who did not give up, who chose not to give up. So, in order to avoid what we call as goal disengagement, and if you want to call it goal reversal, that's absolutely fine as well. Goal reversal or goal disengagement is actually yourself finishing that goal and not knowing what to do, or not knowing how to proceed after you finish that goal. Like, for example, let's put it in your career. Like, in your career, there are a lot of phases. Like, as a chef, there's a cook, a line cook, a junior chef, a demi chef. There's what we call a sous chef. There's just like a lot of categories before you get to be a head chef, and then a lot of level before you get to be an executive chef. And what comes after, a lot of people think, oh, I finished that goal, I got that goal, what's next? Like, what's next after being an executive chef? Or a lot of people, or let's put it into education actually. You finish primary school, you finish high school, then you go to college, and then a lot of us students feel like, what is after college anyway? And then our career goes through heights, through a lot of levels, through a lot of up and downs, and then the perfect goal that we've achieved, like the perfect job description that we want for ourselves, after that goal, we kind of like think, what would come after this? Then comes what we call goal disengagement, because then we would like, oh, I've done it all. Like, I'm done. I've done it all. How do I proceed from this? How do I proceed from here? And as I said, it's all about understanding your negative cognitive biases. Like, it's all about working through that phase. I don't think a lot of people appreciate themselves. You don't congratulate yourself so pretty often that you haven't seen that level of work. Like, you've been in this position, you've cried enough, now you're managing things, now people are like looking up to you. Like, people want to be you. And I think sharing enough knowledge to these people who look up to you is more than enough to proceed. So in order for us not to do the goal reversal, for example, let's put it back down to maybe running half a marathon, say that one, or running a marathon. We run that marathon. Then what comes next after that? Say that. Looking back through, before you even run a marathon, you've trained yourself so much for months and months and months, and you've come to the point where, okay, this is the goal, I've got the goal, then what comes after this? I think not a lot of people who run the marathon would sit back and not train for a lot of months. I don't think that's maybe it's a thing, but I don't think a lot of people actually like sit back and not run and then wait for next year to run again, or to do another hobby, or to do another goal, or to fix themselves, because you cannot shut off your body like that after a very hard work of training. If you want to join the marathon the next year, then do it. If you want to try another hobbies, then do it. But if you're trying to shut your body off of that training completely, do it in a slow process where you don't just like collapse your body. We put a lot of pressure in ourselves. We don't, as I was saying, we do not congratulate ourselves enough. We do not articulate every achievement. We do not put even the smallest win as a win, like as an achievement, as a goal. We don't even put that smallest, we don't even encourage that smallest win, which is why a lot of us has this goal disengagement. Sustained work, I just want you to remember, when you come to the point where you have this goal reversal or goal disengagement, I just want you to remember that sustained work is sustained effort. Consistency is an effort. Consistency is work. Consistency is confidence. I just want you to remember that. A lot of us procrastinate because we put our prefrontal cortex under pressure. And I just want you to understand that the greatest goal of all is the greatest pressure. Your biggest goal is your biggest pressure. That's an equal point that I want you to understand. The biggest goal that we have, the biggest achievement that we want to achieve, is it comes with a lot of feelings. Like, you're just overwhelmed to do it. So why don't we try breaking that? Say the goal to this year is earning $1 million, which I can't do that, but that's pretty heavy, isn't it? So let's try to break that goal. I don't know how to earn $1 million, so I'm not gonna put that as an example, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the example that I've used on this podcast, which is being physically active. In my opinion, this is what would work. If you're very much productive at 10 p.m. till 2 a.m., you can do it in your own time. You can do everything in your own time. If my biggest accomplishment this year is to become physically active, I'm gonna put that biggest goal into smaller goals. Like, break it down into one small goal at a time. Just for me, it is better to put at least 1 to 3 goals a year rather than putting 15 goals in 1 year. For me, my vision board looks like this. First goal, second goal of the year, and these are the small goals that I've broken down to be able to put the 2 goals achievable. Like, say, for example, if the goal is, if I were to run a marathon and I were to put myself, say, read more books, that's gonna be a lot of goals. It's actually overwhelming, because these goals should have like specific time frames. So because I've got work in school, I need to do this goal before the time I go to work or before the time I go to school. So even if I work early in the mornings, I have to do it after my work. Or if I have school early in the morning, I have to do it after school. But if I've got school the whole day and I've got work the whole day, I have to do it before school and before work. Does that make sense? Meaning I have to wake up early in the morning to be physically active. It could be me running, doing chores, moving, closing my 10K ring, because it's very important to me, because that is a goal that I want to do. And the first few days of doing it are really hard, because it's really hard to just push yourself and wake up at 6 a.m. or just push yourself and run after work, because that is an exhausting thing. But at first it was really exhausting, but then I got the feeling where I just like consistency regardless of mood. I just got that in my brain, and I kept showing up, and this is, what day is it? 13th day of me. Not the 13th. Actually, this is the 11th day of me being physically active, which is really great. Cleanliness, I've done that last year, which is really good, because not last year, but in a few months when last year ended, because I got to spend a lot more time with myself. I got to spend a lot more time reading. I've got to spend a lot more time, I could go on and on and on and on with a list, but the reason why I'm just telling you to just put the goal between 1 and 2 goals per year, because you have this focus area, because as I said, you cannot put your prefrontal cortex under pressure. So the focus area of your prefrontal cortex is between those 2 goals, because your brain has only like a limited capacity of attention. Hence, when you put it under pressure, it's not gonna work. You're gonna feel overwhelmed. You're gonna feel a lot more exhausted. This has worked for me. Like, write down your goals, the smallest goal to the biggest goal in character. Write it as character. So instead of putting your goal in your checklist as like run 5 kilometers or clean or brush your teeth. It's not even a goal. I'm really sorry. Run 5 kilometers or clean the house, clean the backyard, wake up at 6 a.m. Put that into character, but I want you to physically write it, because physically writing your goals and actually looking at it every single day will make you accomplish your goal. That is proven. Just write it down physically on a piece of paper before you try and put it down in your notes. Just write it down physically. I want you to write that down physically. And when you write it down, do not just put like running 5 kilometers this year or reading a lot more books. Put it in a character, like this future that you want, put it in the present. Like, I am running a 5 kilometer. I am reading more books. I am doing my chores. I am putting time aside for myself. I am spending more time with myself. I am learning. I am growing. I am motivated. I am, you know what I mean? I can get all, you know what I mean? Just put that into character. Put that future into the present as I am, so that when you accomplish that goal, you get to congratulate yourself enough that, oh my God, I've succeeded for this year. Like, how did I even do that? Because you have actually manipulated your brain. Instead of the negative bias, you rewired your brain to putting it into this focus on that goal, focus on that positive outcome. Do not focus on self-doubt. Do not focus on that uncomfortable feeling, or do not even focus on perfectionism, because failure is always gonna be a part of your journey. If you haven't done it, that's fine. Like, failure is what makes you human. You have to feel the emotion of failure when you haven't succeeded to do a certain goal this year. At least you've got to do a lot more. The takeaway from this podcast is do things imperfectly. Show up imperfectly, because nobody is perfect. It's what makes you human. Do things imperfectly. All of your goals do not have to be perfectly lined. Do not change is linear. It doesn't mean that there are days where you will feel like this happened to me. This actually happened to me recently, where you feel a lot more burnt out than ever, where you feel like your past self is trying to communicate with your present self, trying to like overcome your present self and want to take up that space. Change is not linear, and that's okay to feel that again. But then you should know how to pull yourself back up, because that is actually really important. The third thing is, I want you to go slow. Go really slow with all of these goals. It doesn't have to go through. You don't have to like put all of your goals in one day. Just go slow. Like, do not pressure yourself too much. You're human too. You need rest. I've actually written this down, and I want to read it. Don't use all your energy for your goal. Leave some for yourself. For example, workshop, going to work, going shopping, going to the bank in a day. Don't do a 3 days worth of activity in a day. Please don't do that to yourself. Do not wait for the time to be right for you, because you only have the ability to put it in the right time. Put your goals in the present, like put it as your lock screen, like what I said. I am. Your future is your present right now. Just write it down, please. Time is a space. You can actually control time, not control time by time machine, but you can control your own time. Time is space. So when, for example, when you're going to the subway, you want to do all of your writings on the subway, you want to do your journals on the subway, you want to do your activities in the subway, do it. Like if you want to listen to a podcast on the subway, like that space during your commute going to a certain destination, use that space wisely, because you're gonna realize that you've done so much in a day when the year ends or even the day ends. And break down your biggest goals to micro goals. Like build a momentum, as what Chema said. Build a momentum before you even get to your biggest goal. Like there's your daily goal. What's gonna be your daily goal, and then what's gonna be your weekly goal, and what's gonna be your monthly goal, because those odds up. Build your momentum before, like, say, as I'm gonna use the example, running that half marathon. Build your momentum. So what's gonna be your daily motivation, or what's gonna be your daily goal? My daily goal would be running at least 5 kilometers, 3 to 5 kilometers a day. My weekly goal would be on one of my days off, I'm gonna run at least 10 kilometers. And my monthly goal would be, I'm gonna try to run at least 10 kilometers in how many minutes, or like 5 kilometers in a specific time. Like the takeaway that I'm gonna say is like, celebrate your wins before raising the bar, because this is so good. This is actually from Gemma again. I listened to her podcast and I just want to share this with you, because this has like made me realize, yeah, correct girl. Celebrate your wins before raising the bar, as I said, like goal reversal or goal disengagement. We don't get to celebrate ourselves enough before we even so that when we get to that highest level of our job, like highest position that we want, we get to move forward from there, because there's actually a lot more that we could do from there. You know what I mean? Like there's much more to life than this. And last but not the least, rest, because rest is so important. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I love you all. See you next week. Bye.